All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into something huge, a really critical, time-sensitive change for veterans. Look, if you've ever even thought about filing a disability claim for tinnitus, you absolutely need to listen up.
Okay, let's not waste any time. The Department of Veterans Affairs is about to permanently change how tinnitus is rated. And that change, it goes into effect in less than 60 days. This is not a drill, folks. It's a hard deadline. So, to really get what's on the line here, we've got to look at how the system works right now, and then see how it's about to be completely, well, turned on its head. This is a massive shift. Right now, things are pretty straightforward, It's all governed by what's called Diagnostic Code 6260. Basically, if you can prove that nagging ringing in your ears, that tinnitus, is connected to your service, boom, you get a flat 10% rating. It doesn't matter if it's in one ear or both, and you don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops with a complex functional analysis. Simple. But, and this is a huge but, under the new rules, that entire diagnostic code, it's being deleted. I'm not talking about being changed or tweaked, it's being completely wiped from the regulations. To put it bluntly, long story short, it's gone. Poof. Bye-bye. And this right here really shows you the core of the change. We are literally moving from a simple, standalone claim, something you could file on its own, to a much more complicated system where tinnitus can only be claimed as secondary to something else. That easy 10% rating, it's being swapped out for a process that is way, way more involved. So you're probably asking yourself, why the big change, right? I mean, tinnitus is one of the most common disability claims among veterans. This is going to affect a massive number of people. Well, the VA's entire reason for doing this all comes down to one key difference in how they've decided to define tinnitus from now on. So, the VA is now officially saying that tinnitus itself isn't a disease. Instead, they're calling it a symptom of another problem, like hearing loss or a traumatic brain injury, and they're arguing that their rating system is only supposed to evaluate diagnosable disorders, not just symptoms. That's their logic. Okay, so let's get into who this actually affects, and you really need to understand where you stand because how this change hits you depends completely on your current claim status. All right, first up, some good news. If you are already service-connected and have a rating for tinnitus, you're safe. Your rating is grandfathered in. It's protected by federal regulation. So let me be clear, it cannot and will not be reduced or taken away because of this rule change. You're good. But, and this is for everyone else, if you're planning to file a new claim, or you want to reopen a claim that was denied before, you are directly in the path of this change. Any claim filed after that deadline will be judged by this new, much tougher standard. The old, simpler way, it'll be gone for good. So if the easy road is closing down, what in the world does the new game plan for a successful tinnitus claim even look like? The new process is basically a three-step dance. First, you've got to have a primary service-connected disability already established. Second, you need a medical opinion, what they call a nexus, that directly links your tinnitus to that primary condition. And only then, as the third step, can you claim tinnitus as a secondary symptom. And this means you have to totally change your strategy, right down to the words you use on the form. You can't just file for recurrent tinnitus anymore. No way! You have to link it from the very start, using language like service-connected hearing loss with associated tinnitus. Okay, and here is an absolutely critical detail you need to know. You can only get that 10% rating for tinnitus if the hearing loss it's connected to is non-compensable, which basically means it's rated at 0%. So if your hearing loss is bad enough to get a rating on its own, you can't also get an extra rating for the tinnitus. It's one or the other. You don't get both. Now, while hearing loss is definitely the most common thing to link tinnitus to, it's not your only option. You can also claim tinnitus as a secondary symptom of other service-connected conditions, like Meniere's disease, a TBI, or other kinds of vestibular disorders. So let's just boil this all down to this single most important takeaway, okay? The window to file a simple, standalone tinnitus claim is closing. And it's closing fast. We're talking less than 60 days. After that, this option is gone, forever. If you wait, you could lose the chance to claim tinnitus this way ever again. With this deadline staring us in the face, the real question isn't just if you should file, but how you can possibly file successfully. This new system, it just demands a really careful, strategic approach that, frankly, you didn't need before. Look, trying to figure all this out on your own is a huge risk, especially with the clock ticking down. To make sure your claim is positioned correctly and filed before it's too late, Just text "Get Started" to 702-209-5722. Or you can visit vadisabilityadvocate.com today. Let us help you get this right.